Now let's look at properties. Workflow properties can further customize and enrich your workflow. You can use step properties to restrict certain actions, like editing or commenting, in a certain status, and possibly only to certain people, like members of a group. Transition properties can be used to do certain things during a particular transition. We will now look at some common examples. But use properties sparingly and only when business requirements warrant them, as they're hard to maintain and can easily confuse inexperienced administrators. Here are two examples of step properties. The editable property can prevent issues from being edited when they are in a particular workflow status. In this case, that's the approved status. The property Jira.issue.editable is set to false. In the bottom example, you can restrict commenting when the issue is in the status awaiting release by setting the property Jira.permission.comment.denied as shown. Using the permission workflow property, you can restrict permissions at the status level. You can restrict various permissions to a project role, group, user, and more when an issue is in that status. You restrict who can do what to an issue and when they can do it. The best practice is to use project roles. Workflow properties allow you more granular control of permissions than permission schemes, but they are also harder to maintain. Also note that you cannot use permission properties to grant more permissions than what is allowed by the permission scheme. Instead, you are further limiting what is allowed by the permission scheme. Here are two examples of transition properties. Using the OpsBar sequence property, as shown on the left, you can change the sequence of available transitions when viewing an issue. It is more intuitive to have the most used transition first, for example, to see approved transition before reject or cancel. There is also a property that enables you to limit the resolutions on a workflow by workflow basis. Instead of listing all 9 default resolutions defined in Jira administration, or more if your system has grown over time, you can show just a few, or all except for one, or only 1 or 2. Here you see the property Jira.field.resolution.exclude, excluding 2 of the available resolutions from being shown to the user on a transition screen. You can also use I18N properties to translate the text of the buttons on screens for transitions.